I could see there being a nasty disaster and people being upset about it.
Okay, gang, that's got to be it.
All right, now all I know is this whole thing has prompted me to submit my next vacation bill directly upstairs to the offices of one Rupert Murdoch. I think he's a worldly fellow. He should, well, probably he shouldn't have a problem with this, right? To our Fox All-Stars, Jonathan Hoenig, Tika Tuare, Mike Norman, and Imogen Lloyd Webber, for whom holidays in her country are practically a rite of life. What do you think, Imogen?
I haven't had a holiday since January 2008, I'll have you know. Thank you very much.
You have not taken a day off since...
I'm self-employed, so I can't.
Oh, please.
So there you are.
All right. But what do you think of this?
Well, first of all, this is a trial scheme. The EU Commissioner was appointed by Berlusconi. It's never going to come here because you don't have a politician as bad.
By the Italians.
You don't have a politician anywhere near as bad as him. I'm sorry, you know, Bill Clinton didn't even come close. So, you know, you'll find it's never coming here.
So you're not sympathetic to that view that you, by edict, can force vacations up?
No, absolutely not. However, at the same time...
So you have a conservative tinge to you?
I do have a conservative tinge to me. I do.
And you think this is crazy?
I do think it's crazy. There is, however, a tinge of sense.
And you recognize that liberalism left unfettered leads to this.
There is a positive sentiment to this.
And that it is distinctly possible.
There are a lot of...
Congress, as we know it, will stop.
There are, however, the reason why it came up is there are a lot of disabled children and a lot of children who look after disabled parents who don't get holidays, who don't get vacations, and there are charities out there helping them. So, yes, there is good sentiment there.
Tika?
I don't think that I've heard a political policy that is so detached from economic reality since Obamacare.
You haven't heard Norman speak. He's coming up.
But it's attached to economic reality. Vacations are good. Neil, people become more productive. You know, people in France...
No, I take nothing against vacations.
You like to knock France, but France happens to have a very high rate of productivity. And by the way...
Ours is higher.
Listen, the European economy is bigger. It's bigger than ours. Okay? It has the same level of unemployment. And guess what? People take 6 weeks. Look,
Mike,
Here we go. I told you, buddy.
I was waiting for Hoenig to come in.
Go ahead, Hoenig.
Well, you see the net result of that entitlement mentality, which I think Stuart Varney very astutely talked about earlier, Neil, in countries like Greece and Portugal that have all these rights. I mean, what do have? We have a right to everything, right to health, education, vacation, maybe a nice car. And that's where the whole train falls off the track.
Let's not have government subsidized education in America, and let's see what America looks like. Take away the GI Bill. Take away the GI Bill.
All right, Imogen, you're our European representative.
Massive difference between subsidizing and helping education and health, which are human rights in civilized society, and vacation.
Well, he's saying let's...
So that's where you draw the line. That's where you draw the line.
Yes, education and health are the twin pillars of civilized society.
What is Britain's... What is Britain's equivalent of the Catskills? I mean, what would be a cheap trip there?
The moment you can't get anywhere, I could give you my very bad Icelandic joke, but I won't.
Right. So, yeah, I hear what Mike is saying.
No, Mike's out to lunch on this point. In all due respect, Mike, I've got to say, there's just
we're not feeling the love.
Look, you want to see the future of what our future looks like if we go down this road. Look at Greece. Look at Ireland. Look at Spain. These countries are on the verge of going out of business. Well, this is what happens when you spend money like drunken sailors without thought to the economic impact of your policies.
First of all, you miss an incredibly important distinction between Greece and Spain and the United States. Those countries are America.
I want to go back to the vacations. Do you think, Mike, do you think it's a slippery slope when the government extends basic rights to include vacations? That's all I'm asking.
Look, I'll go back to what I said. Very simple. I think vacations are good. I think they help.
I know they're good.
Why don't we work people till they die?
If you can't afford a vacation, which is a joke,
Neil,
should I pay for you to go on holiday?
The government has to spend money into the economy anyway.
Should I pay for you to go on holiday?
It's not coming out of your pocket.
It is.
Sure it is. Are you getting it?
Of course it is.
Imogen, should I pay for you to go on vacation? Self-employed or not?
No, you shouldn't. But you should pay through tax breaks for disabled kids to be able to go away, and for those who are disadvantaged.
So
it's that reality.
Go ahead, John.
Neil, it's a complete bastardization of the whole notion of what a right is. You know, a right is a right to action, not to a freebie, you know, a free iPod or free vacation from someone else. If people want these values of vacation, healthcare, education, they have to work for them themselves, not just get them as loot from
read the
fellow
preamble
taxpayers.
to the Constitution. It says, provide for the common defense and promote the general welfare.
Right, and a
promote
sandals
the
vacation.
general welfare.
Yes,
Exactly.
and a sandals vacation.
Common defense
and a week
and a sandals
That
vacation.
Promotes my general welfare.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break here. All right, so we're pitting the technical world against the financial world. Apple wins big. So does Goldman Sachs. They're both making money hand over fist. Yet one is a knight in shining armor, and the other is a bad Monty Python skit. So what gives? Jonathan.
Well, Neil, if you listen to the president and the administration, they love workers who, in their words, make something, right? So Apple's okay. They make phones, steel workers, automakers. Goldman Sachs, though, they don't make anything, right? They're just paper pushers clicking away on a computer, you know, screwing everyone out of their retirement info. So the administration, unfortunately, has no respect for people who work in finance, people who work in insurance, people who think with their head, not with their hands.
That's crazy, man.
Pika, what do you say?
Look, here's what I got to say here, Neil, and I'm a dyed-in-the-wool capitalist, but look, if we gave Apple $10 billion, then broke off a check for $180 billion for one of Apple's peers, and then funneled $35 billion back to Apple like we did with AIG and Goldman, we'd have every right to be all in Apple's business. So it is two different arguments. I don't think we can compare Apple and Goldman. The fact is, Goldman took public money. There's a belief out there that they have profited improperly from their political connections, and they've got a big target on their back because of that.
But, you know, I talk to a lot of banking executives who almost wince, and they're not at Goldman, when their quarterly numbers come out. Because, oh, man, we made too much money. And they're going to jump on us for making too much money.
Yeah, there is that. But at the end of the day with Goldman, you know, they help cause financial Armageddon. It is completely different with Apple. Of course,
how do you
also
know
people
they
on the
help
street,
cause financial Armageddon?
they were part of the shadow banking sector, excuse me, they help cause financial Armageddon. Apple certainly didn't. They just have given us an iPod, which, you know, occasionally runs out of battery.
What if everyone
They
at
make
Goldman was
something.
listening to their iPod when the world was collapsing, so Apple did, in fact, have a hand in it?
Come on. No. Therefore, the PR is always going to be more difficult for Goldman, especially at the moment, where, you know, even if they weren't doing something illegally, they certainly morally were doing something questionably wrong.
Goldman created most of the bad CDS that ended up that was backed or guaranteed by AIG, which then Goldman sold the same thing. Come on, look. It's not just about making money. You know, Al Capone made money. The mafia made money. Drug dealers.
Well, you're not comparing Goldman to the mob.
Defrauded. We got to have some standards here in the country. I think
Mike,
Jonathan,
Mike,
this is your point, and it's always your point. As long as somebody makes money in your mind, that's good. It doesn't matter how they make it.
No, that's not what he said. That's not what he said.
No, Mike.
He infers that.
No, Mike. Of course not. But Mike, to Neil's point, do you think that Goldman Sachs? Do you think they're crooks? You think that all the money they make,
I think they should be shut down. And first of all,
wait. But Jonathan's point as well.
That's what the administration
about everyone
thinks.
Who had with the Barney Franks and those who just gave Fannie and Freddie a pass. Look, that Goldman is single-handedly responsible.
You know something? For 75 years in this country, we've had a public policy voted upon to foster home ownership in this country, universal home ownership. Fannie and Freddie were the vehicles to make that happen. If you don't want to have that policy, fine, vote against it.
Fine,
but that's what it's a democracy.
To anyone who had a democracy. Led to this. I'm not saying, all I'm saying is when we question Wall Street for making money, and this goes way beyond Goldman,
Neil,
we get at the heart.
Yes and no, Neil. Yes and no. Look, the fact is that, look, can we prove it in a court of law that Goldman profited from their political connections? We cannot. But you and I sitting down looking at this, we've got to say, how could they not? You know, Lehman goes out of business.
All right, so you're saying they won by betting on a downturn. Imogen, in your country, George Soros won by betting on your country collapsing and selling the pound.
Yes, he did.
He made $1 billion off of that little move. Isn't that no different than what Goldman is being charged with?
Not when they take government
taking
money.
advantage of a crisis.
Not when they take government money.
Wasn't taking
I'm not justifying or condemning either. I'm just saying, where do you draw the line?
But you were today then saying that Apple are, are bad almost. Apple are great. That's why Apple. Yeah, but that's why Apple are up on a pedestal. That's why we're discussing this. And Goldman are down here. They're two.